Good morning. This is Chloe Papadakis, and this is today's Quiet Echo. Last month, I ran a little contest for the children of Cedar Valley. We are decorating Main Street for the 4th of July this year, and instead of just buying banners from a catalog, I asked the schools to let the children design them. I thought we might get a few dozen drawings back. We got more than 200, and right now, every single one of them is taped up across the entire wall of my office because I have not been able to bring myself to take even one down. I will tell you something I have learned doing this work. Choosing among them is the very hardest part of my job. Every single drawing is some child's whole heart, handed across a table to a grown-up they barely know, just hoping. Asking a child to make something is not a small thing to ask. It is a kind of trust. When you ask, you are telling a child their hands matter. You are telling them what they make matters. And all this week, I have been thinking about another contest a great deal like my little one, held almost 100 years ago, with so much more riding on it. In 1927, the territory of Alaska did not have a flag of its own, and the governor decided the children should be the ones to make it. The American Legion sent the rules out to every school, from the coast all the way to the interior. Grades 7 through 12, design a flag for Alaska. Each town picked its best, and the finalists were sent along to Juneau. More than 100 designs came in, and most of them were exactly what you would expect when grown-up ideas get handed down to children. Polar bears, gold pans, the midnight sun. But the design they chose, in the end, was the very simplest one of them all. 8 gold stars on a plain field of blue. 7 of the stars made the Big Dipper for strength, and the 8th one was the North Star, for the future of a place only hoping back then to someday become a state. The boy who drew it wrote one sentence to explain the color blue. It was, he said, for the Alaska sky and for the forget-me-not, a small wild flower, the kind which blooms where almost nothing else will. His name was Benny Benson. He was 14 years old, though for most of the 100 years afterward, people believed he had been 13 because he was an orphan, and the records of his young life were so thin even his birthday had to be corrected by historians almost a century later. He was an Alaska native boy, Onongax, from a small village out on the Aleutian chain. His mother had died when he was very small. His family had lost their home to a fire, and his father, who could not care for his children alone, had sent Benny and his little brother away to a home for orphans. And it was there Benny was living, with almost nothing in the world to call his own. On the evening he picked up a pencil and began to draw the same night sky he looked up at every single night before he fell asleep. I think about this sometimes. A boy who had lost his mother, and his home, and very nearly his own name in the records, and the one thing still left to him, the one thing nobody alive could take away, was the sky above the orphanage roof, the same stars you and I can walk outside and look up at tonight. And so, the sky was the one thing he gave away, the only thing he truly had. The territory adopted his flag in the spring. When Alaska became a state in 1959, the boy's design became the state's own. And then, in 1969, it flew all the way to the moon with the flags of the other states. Benny lived long enough to see it. He said, near the end of his life, it was the single biggest thing ever to happen to him. A flag, one a 14-year-old orphan once drew, alone at a little wooden desk, carried right up off the surface of the earth. Now, I only learned all of this because of where the flag is headed next. This summer, for the country's 250th birthday, every state in the Union was asked to choose just one thing to seal inside a time capsule. It will be buried in Philadelphia, and it is not to be opened again until the year 2276. Some states sent coins, some sent letters from their governors. One state, I am told, sent a piece of a fusion reactor. Alaska sent a copy of Benny Benson's flag. Out of every single thing Alaska could have chosen to say to the people of the future, it chose the drawing of an orphaned boy. Not its oil, not its gold, not its great mountains. It chose the thing a child had made on the one day somebody finally thought to ask him. 250 years from now, the first Alaska a stranger meets will be this one. not a statistic, a boy and his stars. So this is what I will be thinking about this 4th of July, standing on Main Street under all 200 of those banners, not one of them taken down. We spend so very much of our time, all of us, arguing about which grown-ups should get to speak for the rest of us. And we forget almost always to ask the children to make anything at all. But when we do remember to ask, they take it in both hands. And every so often, one of them hands us back the very thing we are going to need for the next 100 years. So ask them, ask the children. You truly never know whose flag you are holding. Cedar Valley News has a group on Facebook. If you have something to add, you are welcome there. Tell us about something a child in your life made which you have never been able to take down. I will put the link in the show notes. This is Chloe Papadakis, your host for today's Quiet Echo. Thanks for listening. Quiet Echo is part of the fictional Cedar Valley News series written by Evan Swenson, publisher, and Claude Marshall, developmental editor. While the people and town of Cedar Valley are fictional, Benny Benson and his 1927 Alaska flag design are real, and a copy of it is Alaska's contribution to America's time capsule, to be sealed in Philadelphia on the 4th of July and opened in the year 2276.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open. This is Cedar Valley News.